Week 4, Artist Way. Let's go. So, I have been following my progress with the Artist Way. I wanted to check in on week 4, which was recovering a sense of integrity. I am meant to check out from this B&B probably in the next 23 minutes. So, hopefully I could stick to 10 minutes on this. But oh my gosh, week 4, week 4. Guys, this has been the week. This feels like the week of breaking open to breakthrough. Like that is, I think, my thesis of the week. It says here, week 4, this week may find you grappling with changing self-definition. The essays, tasks, and exercises are designed to catapult you into productive introspection and integration of new self-awareness. This may be both very difficult and extremely exciting for you. Warning, do not skip the tool of reading deprivation. Reading deprivation, that was, we're going to talk about that. This week, within the reading itself, it kind of just was going over what would be coming up when you continue to really do these morning pages. The things that we clear away to essentially make room for, something larger than us to come through. Make room also for the honesty of our feelings. I found myself writing that at one point within my morning pages, and I know I've been kind of talking about it, this desire as often as possible to be honest on the page because, and I don't know if this is just me, there's a part of me that's like, if I die tomorrow or in 10 years, you know, my loved ones are going to pour over all of my journals, and how embarrassing. This is a real source of angst for me, is what people will think about my writing when I'm dead. How insane is that? Like, if when I really stop and think about that, I'm like, when you are on the other side, when you're in with all the other source creations and just feeling nothing but bliss and awe, say whatever version of what you think happens after you die, none of it none of it leads to any sort of care in the world about how other people on this side of life are feeling or thinking about you. So that's this constant reminder for myself. Um, and then I like this. This the stuff that I highlighted. Uh, if you want to work on your art, work on your life. That's another way of saying that in order to have self expression, you must have a self to express. That is the business of morning pages. The other thing that was a big deal this week, as I kind of spoke to in that little summary, is the reading deprivation. Now, this book was made in 1991 or something, the 90s, before we had as much technology, as much available in the palm of our hands with our iPhones, or you or Android users. And so I was like, what does this equate to nowadays? Because it's actually I mean, I read, yes, but if I don't read for a week, it theoretically is not that challenging. But I think the modern day equivalent of that is really not taking in podcasts, not taking in audiobooks, and not really on social media. Now, to that point, I will say that I made efforts. Efforts were made. Did I succeed in all the ways? Absolutely not. Literally, not. No, no, I did not. No, but I took in a whole lot less content of any kind this past week than I have in a while. I'm going to get to why I'm where I am right now, but that was actually, one of it worked out that it was one of um, the exercises, which was plan an extended artist date. This has been my extended artist date, and it's been so lovely. So yeah, so I made attempts. I tried to limit even television, and the most television I watched in any single day this past week was 2 shows, which somehow that's a pretty big deal for me. And what that led to, if I look back on the week, was I was more in my creative bag, I feel. Um, I worked on my script. I did some kind of just free writing, some creative nonfiction writing. I ended up I think that with less inputs, it actually allowed me and my creativity to like give me ideas. Like I put out more TikToks. Like it was just more of this like clear channel. And I think sometimes when we consume so much, it is this constant like as a creative any sort, it's like this constant feeling of like, can I create something that's just as like bomb as this other person? Like, I don't want to, or the opposite of like, I don't want to like riff off this thing because I've been exposed to it, Like I don't for me, like I don't want to accidentally plagiarize people and like then you're in your head about whatever. You just end up in your head very often. And so I don't think that it's a coincidence that the week that I was consuming less, that I was creating more. And that's pretty dope. And there were also, guys, oh my God, there were so many serendipities this week. So many serendipities. And like, not maybe synchronicities. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. And, at this point, I'm trying to be aware of them all, as I mentioned before in another video. For instance, on Tuesday, I ended up going to a boxing class. I have not been to this like boxing studio since maybe like 3 years, right? And I only went like once or twice when I first got to LA. And I wanted to cancel because I signed up for a 7 a.m. class. And I was like, no, you're gonna. And so like throughout like the couple days leading up, I was like, remember to cancel, remember to cancel, remember to cancel. I'm on class pass. You have to cancel 12 days, 12 days, 12 hours in advance. I say this to myself multiple times. And then the night before, so the class was at 7 a.m. The night before, I'm like rushing to like walk to UPS. And I'm on the phone with my friend. And one thing that it did say was that when you take away reading, sometimes you find yourself going to like other forms of like communication. Um, and I did like I had an hour long conversation. So that was also, because she ain't perfect. Anyway, so I was on the phone with my friend, and literally at 7:05 was when the thought hit me again of like, cancel this boxing class. I looked down at my phone and I'm like, guess I'm going to this boxing class. Go to this boxing class. I run into this guy that I went on a date with on Hinge that I ran into already like the day after the date. And then two, when I was leaving, hear my name again, and it's like another friend, writer, friend that lives in the neighborhood. And I was like, what's going on today? And then the next day, things just flowed in this just perfect way. Maybe that was the serendipity, the way that things fell together for me to come to where I'm like reporting live now from, which is Ojai. I just remember that I'm filming this the wrong way, so if it's uploaded stupidly, you guys know why. Anyway, and like it was one of those things that like from finding the place that I found, it being like the more affordable option because Ojai is not cheap, to like being able to connect with, the spiritual leader that my friend knows, and then again, like just synced up perfectly to when I'm asking for guidance on the script that I'm working for and then receiving this message. And it was just, even just like being here felt so good. Um, that's probably like another video, to be honest, because I'm definitely gonna come back here. I am I lived a little bit too. Like I got here and I didn't just like I got here early, check-ins out until 3, and I explored and I went to the shops and I went to see that mutual friend, the spiritual leader person, and I got food and I just felt so happy. And like I didn't have, because I couldn't like listen to podcasts or anything, maybe like music sometimes, so I didn't have my AirPods in for the most part, I believe. Was walking through and I felt really alive. So yeah, it was just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm meant to be here. And then honestly, again, probably another video because I'm trying not to make this so long. I I came here for the purpose of working on a script that I thought I was just going to be editing. The script's already written. I thought I was coming here to edit it. But then because I was spending so much time with it, it hit me, or, I probably just came to not really the realization, but just came to terms with the fact that, like, because I think it had been coming up for a little bit, like below the surface. But I was like, this needs to be rebroken. Rebreaking a pilot is not my favorite thing. Structure is not my favorite thing. But like night one, that's what I was doing. I was rebreaking. I was starting to rebreak. Actually, night one was like, what is this missing? There's little aspects that I haven't solved yet. And then day two was rebreaking and then starting to rewrite. Anyway, um, I finished my morning pages. I actually moved to one of these composition notebooks. And so I actually realized that, because I was writing in a smaller notebook and I was like, oh, 3 pages. 3 pages is more than I was writing. But I've worked up my muscles in my hands. So I have been trying to do 3 legit pages in this as well. The exercise is how you kind of like thinking back and remembering different things, different like kind of like time travel exercises. I think again that's like tied to the desire for this to be like, introspection. Like kind of like one of the things is remember yourself at 8. What did you like to do? What was your favorite things? Now write a letter from you at 8 to you at your current age. What would you tell yourself? The one before that was like describe yourself at 80. And if time is not real, right, then like all of these versions of ourselves are happening at once. And so I really like tapping into this idea of like future self and past self. I had a moment while in Ojai, it's like known for its mysticism and whatnot, where I was communing with my future self, the future self that is, this, I don't even want to call it a dream version anymore because it's the timeline that I'm on. It's the timeline I'm on. But this future version, this a couple steps ahead version. And I was asking her for guidance. And I felt really connected to her. And that was dope. Anyway, so this was, I don't know, all that to say, this was a special week. I mentioned before that I've never gotten past week 3, and finishing week 4 makes me feel like, yeah, I'm going to finish this. And not just I'm going to finish this. The thing that I asked for was a creative awakening. It was perhaps creative reawakening, it should have been, but I felt like a little bit the breaking open that needs to happen. I'm getting a little like, oh, instead of frog in my throat. But I needed this weekend. I really did. I needed this week. And it has given me this renewed sense of something. I wrote this little like about the breaking process and I started filming for it. I was like, I just, this desire to share my words in different ways and the realization that like I can. Like you might not know the skills now, but you can learn them. And this, feeling like, oh, this is the direction with your script. Like it's just I not everything is there, but it's feeling really good. And that was week 4. Week 5 is recovering a sense of possibility. Sounds interesting. More to come.